A prelude to the 8th Annual International Police Mountain Bike Association Conference was the International Bike Ride, which began in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and ended with the group coming over the new cable bridge in Tacoma and finishing in front of Union Station. Several bike cops from Canada joined in the first leg of the trip and traveled with the group to the Canadian-U.S. border before heading back to their departments in Canada. The majority of the riders were from the Tacoma Police Department, but there were also officers from Bellevue, Renton, Stillicum, and even one from Los Angeles. The group traveled over 200 miles in just 3 days.
We went 65 miles the first day, which was Tuesday. Wednesday we went, I believe it was 96.7 miles. It was almost 100 miles. And on the third day, which was today, is right around 66, 67 miles. We took the train to Vancouver Monday, spent the night Monday night, and Tuesday morning we left from Vancouver.
We did stop at several schools, handed out some helmets, gave a brief safety instruction to the children who were in the schools, which was probably the highlight for all of us. It was real nice to go in and ride in front of the kids and have them kind of be in a little bit of a surprise state as we came in. They seemed to enjoy it. We really enjoyed it.
When officers arrived at the conference headquarters, they were greeted by some very creative signs made by school children in the Tacoma area. The opening ceremonies officially kicked off the start of the conference. Over 300 police bike officers from as far away as Australia, New Zealand, and Scotland were in attendance to get a wholehearted welcome to the Pacific Northwest.
People in our city really like and respect their police officers. I hope it's that way where you come from, but our people take great pride in the force. They're pleased to see officers unless they've been up to something they shouldn't have been. But we have a strong tradition of pride in our officers, and we're glad that you are here to be part of this.
I am just so excited and pleased to see all of you here in the city of Tacoma. As Chief of Police for the city of Tacoma, I'm so proud and privileged to be associated with a fine group of honorable men and women who serve this city. You know, I'm unabashed when I say that I love the cops. I love being with people like you because I think it's the most noble profession that anybody could aspire to.
Then it was off to the classroom. Some of the best police bike instructors in the world were on hand to lend their expertise. A major concern to this segment of law enforcement is what happens when they're on the road and the bike breaks down. So there are courses designed to teach the inner workings of police bike repair.
Larger departments probably have their own bike room with repair facilities, tools, etc. And just as well small agencies would, but a lot of departments are still taking their bikes to the local bike shop, which is good for local business. And so it varies across the country. It just matters how many bikes you have in your fleet and which is more cost effective. These officers should be able to do just about everything there is except welding up frames and doing major frame repairs. But everything else, these officers will graduate this course with that knowledge. And then, of course, we have the workshops at the conference where every officer ought to be able to go in and take various levels of maintenance and enhance their skills to take care of any kind of repairs on the trail or on the road.
A lot can be learned in the classroom, but the hands-on portion of the conference is where the officers got to put that knowledge into practical use. This drill is designed to test the officer's agility, as well as assessing what the situation is. Are the people approaching a threat? And if so, how do they use their bike to their advantage?
She's got her game face on.
Other scenarios dealt with how to check around corners while doing a building search. If the officer spots something suspicious, they don't have a lot of time to get off their bike and react to the situation.
Oh, please!
Yeah.
Being on a bike can sometimes make things complicated compared to when officers are in a patrol car. It's a little more difficult to pull over a vehicle and get the driver's attention without lights and sirens. And then there's always the concern about what to do with the placement of the bike when the driver finally complies.
He was right here with his bike. Okay, what could she have done?
Put it in reverse.
Put it in reverse and backed up, okay? And then, instead of you keeping your eyes on her, you went like this, picked your bike up, and moved it back over here. You took your eyes off her, okay? So, when you come up here, you want to be more over here. Leave your bike here, keep eye contact with that person all the time. Say, hey, pull over. She's pulled over. Okay, if you can't get the kicks down, lay it down. He's gonna be your cover guy, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Gary, let him know where he needs to be. Okay, and then you can come talk to her. Okay.
If you're going to do a dual person approach, we have no problem with that, but you need to be wider. You need to be out here and come up and watch. You don't want to be that close, okay? Because if she comes back, she can take out both bikes and everything else. You're the cover officer for him.
Right.
Should she take off, he's still going to be giving commands for stop and putting out the information while you come back to get your bike and chase. Okay? You did a pretty good job, but you're maybe a little bit too close. I would come out here a little bit wider. I know that...
It's obvious that there is a physical demand in being a police bike officer, but the mental aspect is just as important. Bike cops have to think quickly and accurately because every situation is different and officers must recognize that.
More or less to be aware, to not be complacent, to always know that there is a threat out there no matter what your circumstances are. If it could be an old lady or a mother with a child. Police officers are killed by many, many different types of people. It's not your traditional drug dealer or gangbanger or a motorcycle gang member. They come in all shapes, forms, sizes, and colors.
What sets this conference apart from other law enforcement training venues is that these officers are always on the go, and go they did. Bike riding takes a lot of concentration in and of itself, and for police officers, a lot of skill has to be developed in order to make sharp, quick turns in a moment's notice, or to be able to maneuver in and out of traffic. Officers spend a lot of time on cone courses that help establish good coordination and maneuverability in what they call low-speed skill development, an area that's a lot trickier than it looks.
There we go. Game's on. Oh, yeah.
One out.
Now, nail it! Nail it! You're out! Oh!
And oh yes, officers took numerous spills while attending this conference. Falling is sometimes part of the job that goes with being a bike cop. So one area that got a lot of attention was how to land properly when the officers come tumbling down. There's no way to totally stop from having bike crashes, but the trick is to eliminate or minimize physical injury to the officer.
The classic type mistake we see when the officer falls sideways off of the bicycle is to try and check that fall either with an arm or with a leg, and simply because of the part of the body, they don't possess the physical strength to withstand all of that other weight, and they're either breaking a wrist, they're breaking an elbow, they're dislocating a shoulder, they're dislocating a knee, they're breaking an ankle. And what we try and put into the officer's mind is that if you stay with the bike and allow the bicycle frame, the components of the bicycle, to hit the ground first and take that initial impact, you're much better served. I've gotten several calls, emails, letters from former students saying that I was riding along and for whatever reason I went into a bicycle fall, and the proof in the pudding was it was an unconscious action like we'd like it to become, and I just did the technique, and lo and behold, I came out of it unscathed.
With over 300 attendees at the conference, organization was the key, and this is where it took place, the command center. Tacoma Police took the lead in this area and made sure things ran smoothly with some top-notch equipment and techniques.
We have state-of-the-art bicycle storage that Puyallup Police Department put together, checking in the bicycles for security purposes. This is the first true command post we've ever had, and what you're seeing behind me is some of the people who are involved in this. We have a computer system we've never had a computer system in a conference before, which tracks each attendee, each student. If you want to know where they're at, you want to know what they're doing, we just go back here to our computer system and punch in their name, and it tells them exactly where they're at. So we've never had that before. This is the first time that a conference has ever had their own logo. This is the logo we came up with, Gene Miller, myself, and computer folks over in the small Muni building. And so Dale Woodard is the fellow who helped us come up with this.
Nothing compares to real life, but if bike officers get enough experience in handling different types of situations they may encounter, they'll know the right techniques which will enable them to defuse the problem in a safe and effective manner. Here, officers come upon two people making a drug deal.
Police officers, separate. Hey, you in the red shirt right now. Down on your knees. Down on your knees.
On my knees?
Down on your knees.
Stop. In the white.
Down on your knees right now.
Come here.
Cross
Come
your
here.
feet.
Stop, sir.
Come back where I can
see you. What? Come back where I can see you.
What?
Walk right in that
Sit
corner.
down on your feet. Right
Get
there.
right in that corner, sir. In here? Yep.
That's all right.
Turn away from me.
Hands out to the side.
Turn away from me. Put your hands up in the air.
Keep your arms out to the side.
Being able to get off the bike quickly and react to a threatening situation has to be automatic to these officers. Then throw in the chance the suspect could be aggressive or hostile, and the risk factor increases. This is where the defensive tactics portion of the conference kicks in, with officers practicing on how to deliver a blow quickly and effectively.
Telegraph too early.
All right. The whole time you came off the bike, you're here. So I know you're coming. Okay. Okay. So as you come off, you may be giving verbal commands and everything like that. When you go to deliver the strike, then bring the elbow in. But running like a linebacker, because you don't know who you're coming up against, right? Could be Bruce Lee, Tactical Ninja Master. Right. So don't telegraph. Try it again. Okay. What are you doing now? What are you doing? Okay, you play football, right? Yeah. Picking up the tackle dummy and going through, okay? And that's going to be very effective. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but let's work the technique and hit somebody rather than tackle and push them down. Right. Okay? So when we come in there, no, fist to the chest. There you go, and elbow up high. And drive that through the target. Remember what he talked about? Not hitting here, you're hitting here. In the back. Okay? All right, good.
What you're seeing here is a takedown. It's called a level 3 takedown. This is kind of a last resort thing. Suspect's running. Officers don't have anything else they can do to maintain control of this suspect, so they're going to take him to the ground. And they're trying to learn this so that they minimize the amount of injury to the officer as well as the amount of injury to the suspect. One of the big things is they're not familiar with the dismount to start with, and a lot of them have ever done a momentum type strike where they're moving forward to strike someone with an elbow or to strike someone with a forearm. We all like to think it won't happen, but at some time it may happen, so we try to supply them with as many tools as possible for situations that may occur for them.
These officers gained a lot of valuable information in a short amount of time at this conference, but they know they'll be able to bring that back to their own departments and put the knowledge to good use.
The best thing about going to a conference at this level is that you meet officers from all over the United States and all over the world. And a lot of times police officers will find themselves trapped within that 36 square miles that they work in, or that particular state, or that particular area. And the best thing about coming to a conference of this caliber is You find out how people are doing things in New York. You find out how people are doing things in Florida, in California, Sacramento, and the networking and the information that's being provided from one officer to another is probably the best thing you're going to get out of here. Is just the networking.
In relation to the bicycle patrols, I've learned a lot from the course. How Americans police the streets, it's obviously different to how we do it in Australia, so I hope to take the information that I've learnt from this course back to Australia and pass it on to my fellow members.
But after several days of learning, it was time for some fun. Officers had a chance to partake in some spirited competition against each other, which included a hill climb, and then culminated with the officers heading down to Pacific Avenue in front of Union Station for a sprint competition and then a trip through the obstacle course. With a large crowd gathered to watch the races, the officers definitely wanted to put on a good showing. This was the 8th annual Cops on Bikes Conference, and the word from those who attended this year's gathering in Tacoma was that it was the best ever.
Well, I've been to every conference since Las Vegas back in 1991, and so have a lot of the officers that are here, and they're telling us basically that this is the benchmark. We have put it out there, and now somebody's going to have to work real hard to match it. What we basically did, we wanted, when we came into this, our idea was to make sure that the officers had a good time, that they had a good learning experience, and that it was a positive event for everybody, the department, the community, the schools that we visited during the international ride, as well as the local schools that we visited, and the officers on the street.
This is the best conference ever. It really is. It's organized. It's so well organized. The people of Tacoma have just been fabulous. Not only the Tacoma Police Department and their command staff, the hotel has been great, where it's the host hotel. The citizens of Tacoma, everybody's so friendly and nice and welcoming for us.
Number one, I'll tell you, Tacoma, the people here are really nice. Everyone's been really nice to us. They've opened their doors to us everywhere we've gone. I mean, they've treated us really, really nice. The organization, the way they put it together here, Gene Miller, Stewie Bracken, the police department, the police chief, they supplied us with pagers and beepers when we got here so we could keep in contact with each of the instructors. I mean, the liaison that this thing was set up under is just unbelievable.
Just the organisation of this is fantastic. It's been really well run. Like, everything's at your doorstep. If you need something, they're there. So Tacoma's really put on for us. It's great.
Another part of the 8th annual Police on Bikes conference was the vendor exposition. 40 different vendors came to Tacoma to show off their products and latest technology in police cycling. Vendors ranged from footwear to helmets, from pedals to bicycles. Attendees were encouraged to wander through the vendor booths to see all of the new innovations they had to offer. The International Police Mountain Bike Association would like to thank the City of Tacoma, the Tacoma Police Department, and the citizens of Tacoma for hosting the 8th Annual Police on Bikes Conference and making it the best ever. IPMBA would also like to extend their appreciation to the following sponsors for their support.